Assalamualaikum everybody, I'm Miss Faiza Khalid and today I'm going to talk about ligand gated ion channel. Before I start talking about the ligand gated ion channel, I would like to recap my previous lecture. In my previous video, I talked about receptor. What are they? We talked about ligand, the theories, how they work, and then types of receptors, and then we talked about second messenger. Starting up with receptor. So, receptor is something that is protein in nature, and that day we used a specific term that was transmembrane receptors. That means a receptor that is across the cell membrane. Then we talked about ligand. Ligand is a molecule that binds to the receptor and helps to bring about the changes. Usually, extracellular molecules gain entry into the intracellular environment due to the function of the receptors. Then we talked about theories, that how exactly receptors work. So we talked that when exactly the, for example, if I take agonist medicine, okay, so what would happen in my cell membrane, the number of activated receptors would start to increase. However, when I will take an antagonist medicine, so number of inactive receptors would start to increase in the cell membrane. Then we talked about types of receptors. We talked that there are 4 types of receptors, out of which we are going to talk about the first receptor, that is the ligand gated ion channel. Then we talked about second messenger. In this video we are not going to have this second messenger involved somewhere. However, I would quickly like to recap with a metaphoric again. That let's say you have a friend, okay. Now you have a piece of information which you shared with your friend. Now that friend went and started to tell 100 other people that particular information. So you were the first messenger and your friend is the second messenger. I hope I'm clear about it. If I relate it to a molecule, so some extracellular molecule which gain entrance into the cell membrane would be the first messenger, and the other molecule which would got activated due to the first messenger would be the second messenger, and that second messenger can initiate hundreds of events, okay, a cascade of reactions we usually say. That is why sometimes it happens that when you stop taking a medicine, so the effect of the medicine does not stop immediately, okay. Now let's begin with ligand gated ion channel. What does it mean? Okay, in my previous video, which I just recapped right now, we discussed that ligand is a molecule, okay, which would get attached to the receptor. If I want to draw it up, okay, so it would look something like this. Let's say this is a receptor, and then in the ligand gated ion channel, usually there is a specific kink on which the ligand would get docked up, okay. So what would happen is, let's say this is a ligand, okay, and then it will get docked on this kink, okay, on this specific structure which would match it. So ligand is what? Ligand is this molecule, okay. Then gated. Gated means a gate, a pathway, a channel, okay. Ligand gated ion. Now when we talk about ion, so ion is a huge term that covers up 2 kinds of ion, positive ion and negative ion. Negative ions are called anions and positives are called cation. Channel, again a pathway. So that means these are the receptors that work when they bind with a ligand, and then ions get entrance into the cell, okay. And when we talk about this, so this is a cell membrane and this is a transmembrane receptor, okay. Now the other name for ligand gated ion channel is ionotropic receptors, okay. When we talk about ions, so usually we talk about sodium, potassium, calcium ions. Okay, sodium, potassium, calcium, and sodium, potassium. Okay, I did not write this. Calcium channels. ठीक है. Okay. So these are the ions, sodium, potassium, and calcium ions. Okay. And okay, so these ions are the ones which we'll be talking about. Now, where exactly these are present and what is the function of it? Because when we talk about that there are 4 types of receptors and all that, it means that of course there would be some differentiation, due to which Allah has produced several different kind of receptors, and that is why each receptor would have a specific function. Each would be differentiated. Like this one is made specifically for ions. In this kind of receptor, we cannot talk about entrance of proteins, entrance of any other thing apart from ions. Okay, so where exactly these kind of ions are needed? Okay, where exactly these kind of receptors are present? So these receptors are present in every place of our body, which responds immediately in milliseconds. For example, right now when I'm talking to you, I am moving my tongue frequently, I am blinking my eye frequently, I can see that, and then my hands are moving. So all of these are the conditions in which I want response in milliseconds, right? Okay, there was in fact a very funny incident when we went to a lab when we were students, and then there was a frog. It was dead, and we literally could not think of it that the dead frog can start to kick or something. But all of a sudden when we started to put electrodes on it, so actually the electricity was passed to it, and the frog's leg actually got higher, and then it kind of kicked, and we all freaked out. So it was a funny incident. Anyways, so where exactly, so these are required when we talk about neurotransmission, when we talk about muscle contraction, when we talk about cardiac conduction. Okay, so these are the specific things. Like I'm talking, my muscles are continuously contracting, relaxing. In millisecond things are working. I am talking, I'm thinking what I have to say, and like in milliseconds transmission is taking place. Okay, cardiac conduction, heart pumps, it means that SA node, AV node, all of these places where exactly electricity is generated, there the concentration of these receptors would be higher. Okay, now let's talk about how exactly these work. You have to remember one thing, that is always the positive ions, that is the influx of cations, would produce excitatory effect, and always influx of negative ions, which is the anion, would produce inhibitory effect. I repeat, positive ions, cations, would produce excitatory effect, and negative ones, the anions, would produce inhibitory effect. Now how exactly they work, let's talk about it. Let's say this is the neuron. Okay, we are going to talk about it, that how exactly the effect is being produced when we talk about either the positive effect or the negative effect. Okay, so let's talk about it. You see over here, this is the first neuron. Okay, so and this is the second neuron, and transmission is taking place from here to here. Now always remember that when the two neurons are joined together, okay, so there is a gap in between the neurons. Okay, and that's the point where chemical messengers are released. Okay, where chemical signals are released, and then they are translated into the electrical signals. Okay, over here electrical impulse would be there, and then it would be converted into a chemical messengers would be released, and then these chemical messengers would bind to the receptors, and then a series of electrical signals would be produced. Now let's talk about it, how exactly they are working. Okay, So this is synapse. All right. Now in the first neuron, that is presynaptic neuron. When we say presynaptic, pre means before, synaptic is referring to synapse, means before synapse. The neuron that is before the synapse. Okay. So it has acetylcholine, okay, in the pouches, in the vesicle inside the neuron. Okay, how exactly this is produced and what is acetylcholine, I'm going to talk about it, I think, in my 4th lecture. Okay, so let's just keep this in your mind that there is a receptor which is called acetylcholine. Okay, so now what will happen, that this acetylcholine, okay, it would be released from the presynaptic neuron, and there would be nicotinic receptors over here. So what would happen when this vesicle would get closer to the surface? So what would happen, that the ACH would be released in the synapse, that is acetylcholine would be released in the synapse, and then this acetylcholine would start to bind with the receptors. Okay, now when acetylcholine, remember I talked about ligand getting attached to the receptor, it docks on, and then influx of ions start to happen. So similarly over here, same thing is happening. Okay, acetylcholine is a ligand is docking on the receptor, the channels are getting open, sodium is getting influx because of the nicotinic receptor, because of the action. Okay, now what would happen inside the neuron, that is the postsynaptic neuron. Okay, post means after. Okay, after, later than the synapse. Okay, so in the postsynaptic neuron, on the surface there are the receptors. When acetylcholine binds to it, sodium gets inside the postsynaptic neuron, and when postsynaptic neuron gets sodium inside it, so at that moment action potential happens. What is action potential, I am going to talk in a while. Okay, don't worry. And then action potential, let's just say that there is a jump of electricity that's going to happen, and because of that, contraction in the skeletal muscles would start to happen. Okay, okay. Okay, let's talk about it. Action potential. Okay, what exactly is this? So first of all, I assume that you all know what is a potential, what is a voltage. But if you don't know, so I will quickly describe what is it. Let's say this is a cell membrane. Okay, and you place one electrode over here outside and one over here inside the cell and outside the cell. Okay, so this is the inside the cell and this is the outside the cell. Okay, 2 electrodes are placed. Now there would be difference of charges. So that and you know that the charges difference is the voltage. Okay, and this is why we usually call it electrochemical difference. Okay, so when we have an electrochemical difference, okay, so that is why we say a voltage is there. Okay, now how exactly this is going to work, let's talk about it. Let me start explaining from this graph, and then we'll describe all of these types, this thing and this thing. Okay, so your full attention should be here only. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the action potential. Okay, and how exactly it is working. Okay, how exactly this peak is going to happen and why it is getting reduced. Let's talk about it. First of all, when we talk about a general cell, okay, take it as if it's a piece of banana. Okay, so banana is rich with potassium, so with that you can try to remember that inside the cell, okay, there is a lot of potassium. Okay, there is a lot of potassium and there is chloride ions as well. Okay, in the cell there are leak channels. Okay, leak channels. So what exactly these leak channels do? Now this leak channel is for sodium, for potassium. Okay, and also there are sodium potassium pumps in the channel, in the cell membrane. So how exactly this is working, let's talk about it. Okay, so this channel over here would try to maintain the concentration of ions within the cell. Okay, it means when something would get excess in the cell, so it would be leaked out, and then the cell would try to stabilize itself. So when we look over here, usually when we check the voltage of some cell membrane, so it is usually from -30 to -70 millivolts. Okay, and that is called resting membrane potential. Okay, at this moment when we say negative, it means a lot of negative ion is inside the cell. Okay, so that is why it is more negative. It is -70 right now. Okay, when we are making this graph here, so this is -70 millivolts. Okay, and it means a lot of negative ions are there. Okay, now let's say a ligand got binded to the receptor, and due to the binding, the positive ions, the sodium ions, would start to get force inside the cell. All right, now what would happen, that over here you see negative is becoming positive, so it means it is depolarizing. What is polarizing? Polarizing means having two poles, like I said in my last video as well. That pole means negative pole and positive pole. Okay, so when we have a -70 millivolts, okay, and there is a influx of positive ions, so that means that the cell membrane would that inside the cell, okay, the voltage would start to become more positive. Okay, and then it would start to become, let's say, -60, and then eventually it would reach somewhere here. Okay, now before I talk about the peak and all, I want to discuss one terminology here, which is called threshold. Okay, let's say -70 is the resting one and -50 is here. Okay, now if -50 is a threshold, so that means if I let's say I took some medicine, okay, and the positive ions started to get inside. Okay, so the peak would start to get something like this till it will reach the threshold. As soon as it would hit the threshold value, then the peak would appear, then this thing would appear. If it won't hit the threshold value, then our peak factor, our ligand gated ion channel, won't activate. And when it won't activate, so of course the sodium ion influx won't increase that much. Okay, so I repeat, -70 millivolts is the resting membrane potential. Now you see -55 is the threshold. As soon as it hits, usually in the books you see it something like this. Okay, wait, you see it something like this. Okay, that it is like increasing, it is depolarizing, but as soon as it hits the threshold value, then all of a sudden the peak value is achieved. Okay, over here the function of sodium potassium pump also comes up. Okay, this sodium potassium pump is there in the cell membrane, and how exactly it looks like, it has 3 spaces for sodium ions and 2 spaces for potassium ions. Okay, so it means that when 3 sodium would get in, then 2 potassium would be kicked out. Okay, so over here what we are talking, that inside this cell which had excess of potassium, 2 would be kicked out and 3 sodium would gain entry. Okay, now when 3 sodium ions would get entrance, so what would happen, this potassium ion would keep on removing, and then a lot of positivity would be there inside the cell. It will increase to a level from -70 millivolts, it would increase to a level of plus 30 millivolts. Imagine. And then what happened? The cell would start to would gain its peak effect, and then the reversal effect would start to appear. Okay, when the potassium would gain entry into the cell again. Okay, now when it would hit positive 30, at this moment potassium channel would also open. Let me summarize what I just said right now. I said minus 70 is the resting potential membrane. Positive ions started to gain entrance. It could not produce the effect till it hit the threshold value. As soon as the threshold value was achieved, at that moment we had a peak. The peak was, if you compare this part of the graph, if you compare this part of the graph to this part of the graph, you would see that this one is much more steeper as compared to this one, which means sodium ions, when the sodium ions would start to get inside, so they would get inside very, very quickly. But when we look at this side, which is the B part here, repolarization, okay, when we say repolarization, it means that the negative and positive ends are gaining its concentration back, and it's starting to become more negative. And why it would become more negative? Of course, the sodium would start to get kicked out of the cell. Okay, when this is happening at this moment, the body cells need energy, and I discussed in the class that whenever our body cells need energy, so that is called active transport. Active transport is a process in which the cells need energy. Okay, now what would happen? The positive ions would start to get inside very slowly, and the sodium ions would start to move out, and that's why, see, it is starting to become negative. Okay, like it was before. This is called repolarization. Repolarization, gaining back the poles, gaining back the positive and negative ends. Now what would happen? Sodium ions would move out so quickly, and over here the potassium ions will get inside so late that eventually we'll have a slightly undershoot value, which we would call hyperpolarization. It means a lot of negativity is there. Okay, it can go beyond minus 70, like till minus 90, like I just said to you. And then what would happen? The leak channels then would start to work. The leak channels would say, oh my god, we are getting unstabilized. Then what would happen? They would start to gain equilibrium of the ions again. Okay, alright. Now let's talk about voltage gated ion channels. What are they? Now let's talk about voltage gated ion channels. As the name suggests, voltage gated ion channels, it means these are the receptors that will start to work when the voltage difference is there. Okay, when the voltage is there. Okay, it means these are receptors which would get activated because of the voltage. Okay, what do I mean by that? Let's just say that okay, so let's just say this is a cell membrane. Okay, and over here a lot of positivity was there, and over here a lot of negativity was there. Okay, when it started to get positive here, at that moment, because the positive was there, positive ions were there, so let's say if this receptor was here, so this thing would get open, and then the ions would get entrance, and as soon as the work would end, the sodium ions, that is why you see there is a peak. Like I said, sodium ions would get inside very quickly. Why they are getting inside very quickly? Because we do have voltage gated ion channels also. Okay, and as soon as it has done its work, then this glycoprotein attached to the receptor would actually shut the gate of the receptor by getting attached here. And when it would get this receptor closed, then the sodium ion won't be able to get inside. And this is the moment when repolarization starts to happen. Okay. Like earlier I said, when acetylcholine binds to nicotinic receptor, it produces excitatory effect because sodium ions start to get inside. Similarly, we can talk about the negative effect also. Now, how exactly negative effect would be produced? Let's just say there is a medicine which is called benzodiazepine. Okay, it attaches to GABA receptors, which we are going to talk later on. Okay, GABA, GABA receptor. Okay, at that moment what would happen? Chlorine influx would be there. Chlorine ion influx would be there a lot, and then what would happen? Inhibition would happen, hyperpolarization would happen. So inhibitory effect would be produced. This is how it works. I just wrote it for you just in case if you want to know the spellings and everything. So okay. So benzodiazepine binds to the GABA receptor. What is GABA? GABA is alpha amino butyric acid. This is the full form of it. We will talk about it in my 4th lecture or maybe 5th lecture. Okay, when we will start talking about the neurotransmission and everything. Okay, so but it's good that you start to memorize these names from these basic lectures only. Okay, so what would happen due to the binding? Chlorine influx would start to happen, and then hyperpolarization would happen, inactivation would be there, inhibitory effect. Thank you so much everybody for watching the video. I hope you learned. If you want to know anything, if you want to ask anything, you can either comment in the Google Classroom, or you can even comment in the comment section down in the video. Thank you so much. Take care.